Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. We want to first of all say thank you for taking time to check in with us once again. We have been on our farm here in King George, Virginia now for about 3 months, and a lot has happened in that short amount of time. Feels like we've been here for a year with the amount of things that we've been able to accomplish since the time that we moved in. But we wanted to just take a moment to pause and bring you guys a full update with a full farm tour so you can see all the things that we've done, all the animals that we have acquired in that short amount of time. Even if you've been following us regularly on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, you'll see that we've said probably more than once that this is it for the year. We're not getting any more animals, but if you saw our latest YouTube video, you know that we can't resist when it comes to adding to the flock. Those are some of the kids back there making a little bit of noise. Dragan?
So we just wanted to bring you up to date on what's going on, what we have accomplished so far, and what state of mind are we in so far. For me, biggest thing is it was as scary as it was moving into the countryside, moving away from the city, moving away from everybody. It still feels like home. I think that was biggest. I do not miss the city. I do not miss the crowds. I do not miss any of that. It just feels like home. It feels like Kevin said. It feels like we've been here for more than a year, and I love it. I love it every day.
Yeah, and one of the things that I said was missing in the beginning was just our opportunity to share our farm with our family and our friends. And over Thanksgiving, my mom and dad got a chance to come up and spend a full 2 weeks with us, which was amazing. My sister, my nephew, my brother all came up, and we've had various friends who've made that short drive over to visit us from DC. Others that haven't, the invitation is still there. Don't ask us when's a good time. Every day is a good time to come out to the farm and have a little visit. So today we're going to kind of split up our tour duties to show you guys around. We're going to split them up. I'm probably going to...
memo.
He got the memo. Don't worry. I think I'm going to do the landscape and show you guys around and some of the changes that we've made to the property. And then Dragan is going to take over from there and go over some information on the animals that we have.
All right.
Ready?
Well, let's do it. I'm ready for it.
Let's go, bro. Here we are on the front of our property. We decided to start here and then kind of work our way around. So we'll walk on out to the front entrance and show you some of the things that we've done there. If you recall what we did first, our very first planting project, we planted a row of hydrangeas along the white fence here in front of this open pasture. Those were cuttings that we took from hydrangeas at our townhouse on hydrangeas that we planted there. The frost has taken them now. Hopefully they will survive and that we got them into the ground early enough so that their root system could take. So we're just going to kind of keep our fingers crossed on all of that. But out here on the front part of the property, we also had some other hydrangeas that our friends Valentine and David gave us. And along the front, Dragan's gonna pan over here. You'll see these were more mature hydrangeas when we got them. We also went in and cut those into two for the most part. One of them we split into three. We were able to get a nice hedge here, hopefully, that will also come back in the spring. Full bloom. Trinity, come back. Let's go back. Trinity, back. Let's go. Trinity's out. Trinity, let's go. House, please. Let's go. Trinity, house. Let's go. Let's go, house. Let's go, house. All right. Let me tell you, having these kids around these days. House. Let's go. All the way. Thank you. Hydrangea hedges that are here. You can see the frost kind of got to them also too, but again, we hope that we got everything into the ground with enough time to get it watered in before it went into its dormancy phase for the fall. Have those planted on that side. Then on the opposite side of the entrance here, we have another line of 4 hydrangeas to kind of complete that hedge. hopefully get some nice big blooms, some beautiful color when the springtime comes around. While we're out here also too, on the front of the property, when my dad was here for Thanksgiving, he and Dragan came out and cleaned up this entire front area of the property. This fence line was just full of all kinds of bushes. There's still a pile that's there in the middle. Dragan's probably zooming in on it right now. That pile of sticks and bushes and everything was all wrapped up and intertwined inside the front of the fence. They went in, got it all out, even went all the way around to where our neighbors were, and you get kind of one of the best compliments you can get, which is our neighbor telling us that this property hasn't looked this good in at least 20 years. So one of the things that he's also kind of told Dragan is he loves looking out his window and seeing us outside working on projects, which kind of does our heart good too, to know that we have such a great neighbor living next door to us. All right, Daddy, how's it going?
Doing all right. Like I said, farming ain't easy. I better stick to lawn cutting. It's all right though. Once you get it done, you'll be glad of it.
Yep. Trinity, you approve? Trinity approves.
It'll take long to warm up. Just doing that.
Yep. We're going to come on back inside. Over here, when you enter on the front side, we have these trees that are here. One of the first things that we did also too, the sun is kind of bright, but we came in and just cleaned up this area quite a bit. There were a lot of low-hanging branches, still a lot of dead branches and a couple of dead trees that are here in this area. But we wanted to make sure that we kind of came in and cleaned up as much of this as we could. Ultimately, the plan is to make this one giant seating area. In this, maybe putting in some mulch at some point in time, along with a new walkway that leads up to the front of the house. But just opening up this tree canopy when you're at the back of the property, or at least in the corner over by the chicken and the duck coop, and you're looking this way, you can now see underneath this, and also our Japanese maple that is here when it's in full bloom, and especially when it had that beautiful fall glorious color to it that we'll pop a picture up on the screen. In the evening time when that sun is hitting it, you got to see that beautiful glow and that beautiful show without kind of the trees covering it up. So further down here, we have the beginnings of our shade garden with hostas that we planted. And this area is a little bit murky. Most of this is kind of covered up. We've been blowing the leaves from the yard over here, helping also to kind of protect these throughout the winter time. But these will hopefully, and they should, push back out when the springtime comes around. And as we see other shade-loving plants, we'll be able to grab those, fill them in this area, and then kind of on up in this portion too. Again, to hopefully create a nice seating area that we can come out in the evenings when it's nice out and just relax and enjoy. As we're coming back up to the house here, while we're on this side, we have our line of roses that are here. We have 6. It looks like there were initially 8 roses that were planted there. And because of that, 2 of them had died. They weren't all planted evenly. So we went in and did a little better spacing with them by taking out, I think 3 of them we dug out and realigned so we can get a little more symmetry that's here. And then also, if Dragan pans on over to the right, in front of the garage, you will see 6 Gardenia hedges. These 6 hedges were planted on the front of our house, and we'll see that area when we head around on that side in a moment. And they just were kind of just dropped in. But these are frost-proof gardenia bushes. They looked a little bit peaked the other day, some of them, but we watered them. They all bounced back nicely. So these seem to have taken pretty well. So we're hoping that they continue to do nicely and flourish in their new home here. They made an immediate impact on transforming this space when we first put them in, especially how they were already, for the most part, full and rounded. So now we're just looking forward to when they put on some blooms and offer a little bit more color here to that area. Over around on this side, we have these two massive boxwoods that were planted here. Who knows how old they actually are. Underneath them and around them, you can't see now, but we have more hydrangeas that we planted that have now been taken because of the frost. And then over on this side of the property, you can see into this ditch area, there was a lot of brush, and just you can see along the top of the ridge, all the trees that we came in with our chainsaw and cut down and just pushed everything kind of right on over into the ditch that's here. But in order to kind of beautify this area, we've been buying things and planting here. So one of the things we have is a butterfly bush. Have our tags on them so you can kind of see eventually what we're expecting to see from all of these. Beautiful butterfly bush there. Here is a rhododendron bush that we planted here. This, what is this? This is a flowering Camellia. This was also planted on the front of the house and we transplanted it over here. And then we have some dwarf burning bush, two that are here, two on the other side of this stump here, and then right here in the middle we have a lilac tree that we've planted. So all of these things should grow up at least, I would say, 5-6 feet high and wide. So at their maturity, you know, they'll be a little bit taller than me and at least wide enough to start touching each other to offer a little more kind of, I guess, beauty along this ridge and hide kind of some of the stuff as it decays down in the backside. While we're over here too as well, we'll get to the chickens, geese, and the ducks later, but show a little bit of the clearing that we've done on this side. Again, you can just see as we're walking through all of some of the stuff was there before, but a lot of the larger logs and bigger things are all things that we've cut down since we've been here in the past couple of months. This area here next to the chicken duck coop in particular was a huge transformation. This was full of nothing but just kind of stick bushes and everything. This giant pile of rocks that's here was not even visible. And when my father was here, he and Dragan came through and slowly started working their way down, clearing this fence line by our pasture, because we wanted to be able to get access to both sides of the fence so that we can make sure that we can properly electrify it when the time comes. And after my dad left, Dragan went in and continued working on this, burning all of this down and kind of getting through. And so we were able to redo our Premier One netting, put it around so that now the chickens are living their best life by kind of rooting around in here day in, day out, getting a chance to climb on those rocks and also help to keep down and prevent any of those pesky weeds from coming back. While we're down on this side, before we head back up to the front of the house and continue, just wanted to show a little bit of the progress, or a lot of the progress that's been made here. This has been mostly Dragan throughout the day, coming in, working to clear all this stuff out, and it just looks way, way better and will really allow us the opportunity to be on both sides of the fence for any maintenance and to just have access to everything that we need. So back here at the front of the house, we went through this hydrangea. Here was an older hydrangea that was already here. When we came, it was probably almost reaching the second floor, covering up the window here to this front living room where my office is, and just kind of didn't look all that healthy. So we went in, cut it back. What we left started flourishing. So again, because of the frost and the cold temperatures now in December, it's gone into dormancy, but hoping that that will be able to push back some new blooms as well in the springtime. Also around here and in the back side and on the opposite side of the porch along the same area, we have some bulbs that we put in, some allium. So we're hoping that those will offer a little bit of nice tall pop of color come springtime. On around the front of the house, this is a Japanese maple that was gifted to us by our friends Valentine and David. These Silver King Unimus were here. This single one here was planted on the opposite side of the house, and there was just a hole right here. So for uniformity, we dug that out when we dug up those gardenias, and we plopped this in on this side so that we will now just have a continuous hedge of those Unimus bushes along the front side of our porch here. Around on this side, this is a Virtus Japanese maple that Dragan and I had at our home in Maryland. And right behind those are two Summer Crush hydrangea that we planted earlier. Those seem to have gotten in, hopefully in time. Again, everything is looking just kind of ragged now because we've had a few days of frost and temperatures dipping into the 20s. Right here in the front of the house, this was a, I don't even know what the tree was, but it was just an ugly tree that we had a couple of them in the yard, and they were lacking attention, and the best thing for us to do was just to replace them. So what we've done here is replace this one with another lilac. This is a Boomerang dark purple lilac tree, another proven winners variety. That should offer some beautiful blooms once it's grown up and mature. And then right here on the front of the house are two arborvitae that lived on our deck back at our townhome in Maryland that we took out of the pots and planted into the landscape. Along the back of that, still open space, still potential for us to decide what we want to do. But as we see something that we like and kind of cultivate some ideas, we'll keep everybody up to date on how the landscape fills in here with those front flower beds. Here on the side of the house, we have kind of encapsulated another flower bed here. These are little limelight quickfire hydrangeas, two of them here on the ends. Then along the back, on both sides of the chimney, we have another row on each side of the dwarf burning bush. And these little purple flowering things that are here, these are phlox, a phlox on each side. And this is a fig tree that is just sitting here as we winter it over, and we will select a place in the landscape to pop that in later on. The front here, we have sedum on both sides that we got in. The blooms lasted a lot longer than I expected them to because of the cold in the winter that we had coming up on them, but they finally gone into their dormancy phase now. So all of this, as inside all these areas, we have lots of daffodil bulbs that are there. So when springtime comes, as everything else starts to waken up, we'll hopefully have some different stages of colors that start to pop up here. Over on this side of the property, we've planted two Crepe Myrtles. The variety is a Midnight Magic Crepe Myrtle. It has a purple-ish kind of, I guess, bark, and then those pink leaves that will come up. And this is a chase tree, C-H-A-S-T-E, I believe is the name of it. So I think those blooms on there are like blue, like the blue bloom on that, and then this pink. So kind of when this area starts to grow up, it'll look really nice, and as it gets height, hopefully provide us an opportunity to do some underplanting under the canopies here. Ultimately, our goal is to redo our driveway and add in kind of a driveway path that is around this, so this becomes a little bit of an island with a little bit of beauty to help soften up some of that asphalt or concrete or gravel, whatever we ultimately decide. So before I turn over the microphone to Dragan, just wanted to bring you guys back here as well to see the transformation that has happened here on our lower pasture, which will ultimately become the orchard. So on the far end of the pasture, that's where we were earlier walking, where we've been going through clearing the fence line to give us access on both sides. You can see the chicken and the duck coop. That's over here to the right, and the house. And our neighbor first came over when we first moved here, and this was, you know, this tall with all the grass and the weeds and the sticker bushes. And he came through, bush hogged all of our pastures for us. Then when we were able to purchase our lawnmower from the previous owner, We went through, did some mowing on here. When my dad was here visiting, he came through also too and helped us kind of really clear up everything. So this is looking better than we could have expected it to, and now all we have to do is maintain it and then continue to cultivate the land for prepping it for the pasture, prepping the pasture for the orchard in the future.
Since this tour began to run a little bit longer than we expected, we decided to split it into 2 sections. So check back soon for part 2 with Dragan and the animals.